Welcome to the Moon Magic Tarot channel. Thank you. Oh, wow. Thank you for joining me. We have 3 cards already. This is quite amazing. So today we are asking for life-changing advice from your future self. That is what today's reading is about. And what I was about to say was that we will draw 3 cards, charms and runes. We have our 3 cards. Let's have a look and see what we have. We have Larch for reading number 1. We have Chicory for reading number 2. And for reading number 3, we have White Chestnut. Now I'm going to draw a rune and a charm for each, for those of you who like to have that extra bit of information. These are our runes, and okay. So reading number 1, you have the rune of partnership, and you have a little horse here as well, the charm of the horse. Reading number 2, you have the rune of possessions, of nourishment, and you have the little starfish charm. And reading number 3, you have the rune of initiation, and you have a little child here. Okay. So, Super Souls, I'll leave the video running for just a moment or two for those of you that need a little bit longer, and you can always press the pause button. The timestamps are in the information box below and the comments for phone users. See you in the readings. Welcome to reading number 1. You've been guided to this reading by the card of Larch, the card of partnership, and the little charm of the horse. Super Souls, I have to say there is a really clear message just from this little collaboration alone. So reading number 1. The energy of partnership is around you. Now this could be an intimate partnership, it could be a friendship, it could be a family member, a work colleague, but there is a connection, a direct connection around you to another person, and it's causing you to question how best to handle a situation, or how best to act, or what to do. You kind of know you need to do something, you need to take action. Okay, we have the horse charm here as well. I'll speak about that in just a second. You need to take action, and you know you do. The card of Larch tells us to sort of not to make excuses, not to take action. It's also beautiful. It's a lovely card because it says, come on, you can do this. You're perfectly capable. So don't panic. You know, take stock. You're perfectly capable of handling this. Take action, but don't do it in a panic. And I think we have the horse here. Horses, their instinct, if they are not okay, they go into fight or flight. I mean, a horse in reality will never fight unless it's cornered. If they can run, they'll run. But it's this fight or flight, and you're being called not to do either. It's not about fight or flight. It's the middle ground here. You know, we're asking for life-changing advice from your future self, and there is something concerning someone else around you at the moment. This is definitely concerning another person, and yeah, your instinct, I think, could be the fight or the flight. Let's throw the astrology dice, and then we're going to draw your oracle cards. Ooh. Okay, so this one's just off the radar here, but let's bring it in. This is really interesting. Wow, you have Mars in Aries, so this is going to be about taking action. Action is definitely needed. and potentially quite speedy action. Aries is very far, Mars rules Aries, so you know this is a dynamic combo here. I want to say there's going to be no stopping you, okay, in this. Let's draw cards and see what else we are shown for reading number 1, please. We are asking your future self for some life-changing advice in this situation. Definitely that one. Ooh, that's way too many, I think. Well, do you know what? Let's go with it. There's 4 cards. They came out just like that. Reading number 1, we must be organic in our reading and responsive to whatever we are shown. And so 2 of those too. Here we go. Right, let us have a look and see what we are shown. Okay. First of all, you have the prayer. Okay, that's a very interesting card to have. Let's place that down here. Next to Mars in Aries. Okay. Then we have play with me. This is really interesting. Very, very interesting card. Sometimes for me, this card actually kind of says, look, don't play with me. Don't mess me around. Okay. Protecting treasure, coming apart, details, details, and the card of goblins. Okay, let's put this down here. Then we have debilitated, discomfort, and Libra balance. Well, it's super lovely to have the Libra balance card. Okay. So before we draw our tarot cards, reading number 1, there's some aspect of partnership, of relationship. You have got to take action in some way, shape or form. I feel like you've slightly been pushed into having to. You know, you would quite like it to be, you'd quite like it to be sorted. But it does feel as though you're having to address something where we are seeing something that's coming apart, literally. There's some, now, interestingly enough, I do need to say to you, I feel like you're actually, for some of you, you're protecting yourselves. For others, I think you may be feeling protective of someone else. I think you may actually be, feeling very, very protective around someone else. Maybe you have a colleague who's leaving the workplace. Maybe you have a friend whose relationship is breaking up. Maybe you have, these things could be applying to you as well. It could be a family member, but I do feel very strongly for some of you, it's actually more your concern or your sense of responsibility to protecting someone else. Maybe you have children and they are struggling, one of your children is struggling with school, or they're being bullied or targeted or something. There's something around that's making things feel very uncomfortable. There's a discomfort. And it's taking more energy than you would have wanted to give it. Your higher self, your future self rather, we're asking your future self for life-changing advice. Your future self is saying to you, you do need to take action. There's no question of it. But you also need to do so in a way that you pay attention to the details. You know, Larch says you're perfectly capable of doing this. Everything is fine. Everything you need is within you. You know, you have the ability to kind of almost to manifest this, to ask for guidance, to receive help, to be shown your way through the woods, you know, even if you can't see the woods for the trees, to be shown your way and into the light. Do you feel like there may be some things that you're needing to actually see? let's draw tarot cards and ask for some more advice for reading number 1. Can we please know a little bit more about this situation, please, for reading number 1? Ooh, let's have those as well. Right, I'm going to leave it at that for a moment, though I have more cards here yet to draw. So let's have a look here. Okay, so we have Ace of Wands and 6 of Swords. Let's place those here. Okay. Reading number 1, I want to say that whether this parting of the ways, something coming to an end, is directly related to you, or I do feel for some of you it's someone that you are protective of or protective over. I think your future self is saying to you, literally pay attention to the details and this is a situation where understanding and, you know, action is needed, but take it, literally take it one step at a time. You're very, very capable of dealing with this. You do need to take action, and action is absolutely required here. But be thoughtful. Think about how you're thinking about it. That might sound a bit strange, but whatever this is, it will come back into balance, and there will be a parting of the ways. The key is how you navigate it. Okay, it's how you navigate this process, this journey, this separation, this coming apart, this, you know, how do you talk to somebody who is not okay about something, someone who's debilitated, they're in discomfort, there's something that you're having to navigate here that connects to someone else. I think you have a great sense of loyalty to them, you're quite protective of them. It could well be that for some of you this is directly to do with something coming apart for you, but I do feel there's a greater sense of you caring about somebody else's scenario, someone else's situation. You have an involvement in it, maybe even a potential leadership role in some way. We have the card of Strength here. We have the 9 of Cups. And we have the Sun. Yeah, you see, I think that you have a significant role to play here. Yes, you absolutely do. We have the Sun. We have the 9 of Discs. We have the King of Discs. And the Princess of Cups. Yeah, absolutely. So you have what I'm seeing here, reading number 1, is you actually have a significant role to play in being able to support this situation through its process of coming apart, of separation, of completion, of somebody finding their way through something. It's like you're playing a very key supportive role. You actually hold a lot of light, a lot of hope here, which is lovely. You're actually very good at balancing things. You're very good at seeing the best way forward. Your future self is saying, and this is actually really rather lovely. So going on the basis of what I feel most strongly, which is you are kind of like looking out for someone else in this scenario. Okay. For some of you, you are looking out for you, and you are, of course, looking out for you too. But I do feel you have a key role in a way that will affect others within this negotiation. And I think they're looking to you for that role. I think they're looking to you to kind of be the source of what to do next. Take it steady. King of Discs, look, sitting on this tortoise, you know, slow and steady wins the race. You're very capable of doing this. Don't panic if something's just landed in your lap. If you're in a working situation and somebody just became ill or sick or has, you know, suddenly, you know, they couldn't manage a piece of work and it's fallen to you to have to pick it up and deal with it. You're carrying something, adjusting something, working with something, leading something that wasn't primarily yours to lead, but it kind of is yours to lead. You do have the strength to do this. You're going to significantly come out of this on top, even if you're feeling a little bit bowled over by it. You will find the right creative solutions. There is a real sense of loyalty here. You're going to find the way through this. You'll find the right outcome. Take it slow and steady, step by step. Slow and steady wins the race. There's definitely some weeding and pruning to be done, some letting go, some coming apart, some separation, whatever that will be. But it's exactly that that's going to allow you to help this situation and potentially other people too, sort of to a position where they're coming, then it's like where you can't see the woods for the trees. Yes, there's discomfort, there's difficulty around. I really see that. But you're the person who comes in and holds, you hold the key to this and you have the strength to deal with it, because I think some other people around you, and especially particularly maybe a person around you, doesn't actually have the strength to deal with this at the moment. So you're their kind of guiding light, but slow and steady wins the race. You're going to come out of this on top. You'll be able to juggle things. You'll bring everything back into balance. You're very, very capable. I think it's just that it's perhaps come out of nowhere. It's one of those scenarios where something, I think, you know, when you could almost say life throws you a curveball. I think somebody else has maybe thrown you a curveball. Someone needs your help. Someone calls on you. Somebody's having a moment, you know, or a crisis or a drama, or, as I said, somebody had to leave suddenly and you've got to pick up a piece of work, or a friend is having an issue, or, you know, and suddenly they call you up and you want to be there for them. And so there's a sense of loyalty. There's a sense of something that's uncomfortable that it actually has to be sorted out. There's no way around it. But you are the person who ultimately is picking this up. And I think because you care, you know, but the new beginning, the idea, the solution, what you need to see will come to you very, very clearly. But again, take your time. Slow and steady wins the race. This is one of those scenarios when other people may be panicking around you and you're the one that can actually navigate with awareness. Slow and steady wins the race, and also with a lot of thought. You know, there's a lot of guidance coming in here. You're also having to be quite strong, though. There is this sense of, you know, don't play with me, or I feel there's a duality. The shadow side of this card is kind of, look, you know, literally don't play with me, don't mess me around, and we're going to deal with this. We'll deal with it firmly. So not, you know, being drawn into, let's say, someone else's drama. So if someone's having a crisis or something, you're very willing to help them, but your future self is saying, look, you know, this is quite big actually for someone, but the key thing is not what it's about, it's how it's being handled. That's the life-changing advice. It's not to do with the actual something, it's how it's handled, because the outcome, you know, can be made into a beautifully positive flowing way forwards, lovely new beginning, lovely space of, you know, creative solutions, or it could sort of dissolve into crisis and panic and drama. So, you know, I think you are the person who's capable of handling this. You know, it's a bit like, let's say your best mate is separating, but actually you're good friends with both people in that partnership. You're the person then who can actually hold that middle ground and say, look, actually, let's not take sides. Let's do this in a balanced way. We can, yes, there's a lot of discomfort around, but we can deal with this. You know, I can remain friends with both of you. Let's help you both to process how this can be handled, slow and steady. There's definitely weeding and pruning, there's stuff going on around, but actually reading number one, you are the person who's actually able to help to navigate this situation, scenario, process through to a point of a new beginning. I feel I really want to draw a couple more cards, so let's do that. Let's just ask for a little bit more information, or a sneaky peek maybe of how this is going to work out for reading number one, because it does feel like it's been a curveball for you. That's really what I feel. It literally came out, I won't say came out of nowhere, but yeah, you weren't expecting this. That's what I feel. So we have the Four of Pentacles. Yeah, this is the harvest is going to come in. You'll be able to, you see, look at this. We have that sense of partnership again. You're leading, you're helping somebody else to find the solution here. I'm not saying that this couldn't be, you know, your own situation. Could even be someone coming in and helping you out. But I do still feel I do feel that you are the leader in this scenario. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. We have the Four of Pentacles. We have the Six of Pentacles, the warrior energy. You know, the rainbow here. And then we have the Nine of Swords. Yeah, you're the person who's able to kind of hold the challenge, if you like. You're the person who can hold the challenge and kind of see the way through it. So this affects more than just you. This is you navigating through something. You'll come up with the solution, basically, whatever's needed, whatever's landed in your lap that you wouldn't necessarily have really thought was going to be yours to carry. It's landed, it's here. You're the person who's going to step up. You're going to handle it. You'll literally find the solutions. Look at the lizards on the rainbow. We have two lizards and we have a buffalo. So again, there's something about the buffalo energy of provision. You know, there's loyalty. You're able to look into the dream time, find the solutions, pay attention to the detail. Even though this is a very uncomfortable situation, Nine of Swords, there's an atmosphere hanging around. That's what I want to say. You know what? There's just an energy, an atmosphere. There's discomfort because something is having to be processed and sorted. In a way, I could say I'm sorry that you're having to pick it up reading number one, but you know, I feel like actually I'm not sorry, because I think you're the person with the capability and the capacity to do this. Your future self is kind of giving you the thumbs up. It's like, you know, the way this is handled is going to be life-changing for more than one person, because stuff ripples out, and you're the person who literally can handle this. You're able to navigate the emotionality of the situation in a way that brings something to its natural completion, fruition, harvest. Super Souls, I am sorry in a way that extra stuff has landed on your plate at a time when I don't think you were expecting it, but I can genuinely say that you're the right person to do it. You know, and really way to go, because there is something of you being very protective here, and the key is to not buy into the panic or anybody else's panic or drama. Just evaluate, pay attention to the details, listen to what you really feel. Your intuition will guide you through this, and you will be the person who comes up with the solutions, despite the fact that other people are feeling very, very conflicted about this. Super Souls, I feel that your reading is complete as we are here. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys are amazing, I need to say, reading number one, because there's just such a sense of your solidness, your love, your regard, your loyalty, your consistency coming through here. Even in a heated situation, it's like you're the person who still keeps their head when everybody else is falling apart. You know, so it's a pretty delightful affirmation of you. And the life-changing, I don't think, maybe this is also something that is coming through very strongly, and I really want to honor it. I think that maybe your future self is really validating that you don't realize how life-changing you are to the people around you. I don't think you realize how important your contribution is and how much of a difference your contribution makes to the lives of the people you are in contact with, and the way in which you handle things. I think you're one of those people who probably doesn't stop and validate the role that they play or receive the recognition for yourself. So let me, on behalf of your future self and all of the people around you, acknowledge and recognize how much you do and how little you allow yourself to receive praise for that, and to really, really validate the fact that you consistently make a difference to the lives of the people around you. So big respect to you and big love and big, 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 big hugs. Thank you for joining me for this reading. Thank you so, so much. If you are new to my channel, or if this reading is resonating and you'd like to get notification of any of my readings, including the very immediate small readings that I've just started uploading, which is very much small here and now, 10-minute readings. If you subscribe and press the little bell icon, everything should come into your stream. And just thank you so, so much for joining me today. Thank you for all of you who leave comments. If your comments don't go live straight away, it is because all the comments on this channel are now held back for review. It means that we can protect all of you, myself and a colleague, review every comment to make sure that we are stopping the kind of scammers that so many tarot channels are currently having to experience. Super souls, if you are serious about the moon, about energy, about the law of attraction, and you want to know how all of these things work together, do check out my Manifest with the Moon, Astro-Moon diary and journal, and my free webinar that will teach you all about the science and how to use these amazing tools to manifest. Tons and tons of love to you. Welcome, reading number 2. You've been guided into this reading by the rune of nourishment, of possessions, the starfish, and also chicory, the card of chicory. It's very interesting because this is about being loved. I mean, just look at this. It's like this sort of maternal, unconditional love. Yeah, I feel like this is a reading already, reading number 2, that is telling me you are loved. I'm not quite sure. And I want to say you're a superstar. You are a superstar and you're loved. Let's draw cards and see what else we are shown. We're asking for life-changing advice from your future self. What does your future self need you to know that is going to be changing your world? We'll draw your oracle cards first. Seeing those two. Okay, super souls, let us have a little look at your cards. You have, excuse me, you have the card of the Temple. That's really beautiful. Look at the colours, the greens, the blues coming through here. She rides with wild spirit unbroken. Reading number 2. I'm loving your cards already. I am loving your cards. We have the card of strength. We have the card of home. We have the card of commitment. Ooh, ooh, what is going on in your world? Reading number 2. Let me move these cards right up here because we're going to be drawing quite a lot for you. So, home, commitment, stormfields. And then we have Aquarius, collaborate, and Ceres, nurture. Ooh, this does feel life-changing, reading number 2. I'm going to throw the astrology dice as well for you. Okay, you have the Sun in Scorpio. Transformation, rebirth. It feels very, very life-changing. This reading, this information, life-changing advice from your future self. You've been through a huge number of upheavals, I think, reading number 2. I mean, you know, storm fields. I just feel there's been, it's almost like this checkered road here. You've had to deal with an awful lot of, I think, genuinely really quite challenging situations, and I think these situations have taken place actually over many, many years. And actually, I think you genuinely are at a turning point, a really, really significant turning point, because you know who you are now. You know, despite everything you have come through and you've been through, I have to say it again, you're a superstar. Despite everything you've come through, you have never let your spirit be broken, even though, if I'm truly honest, I think you came very close to feeling pretty broken on more than one occasion. And I'm really sorry that that happened, reading number 2. But I think you really, really did. And I think way back, right back into childhood, but through your adult life, it's like this checkered road where stuff, you know, knocked you down, you were able to rise again, it knocked you down, you were able to rise again, but you never actually lost sight. Even if you felt pretty close to it, you never fundamentally lost sight of hope, actually, or the essence of what it means to be walking that spiritual pathway. Now, you've reached a point, and I really, really want to honour this, you've reached a point of really significant rebirth. Ambitions, you know, unexpected surprises, rewards, gains, ambitions satisfied. That's what this rune is about. It's almost like you are about to rise to stardom. That's what I feel like. And something you have been waiting for, the door is about to open. We have this key here, commitment, and we have a key waiting, the timing. It's like there's divine timing around you. Look at this temple. This stuff that you've been through, my goodness me, reading number 2, it's made you who you are. It's absolutely made you who you are. And now is a time to nurture. It's a time to nurture a very, very, very new phase of your life. The door is absolutely primed and ready for you to open. There's something here, it's just really interesting. We'll see what your tarot cards show. But the commitment card. I'm really uncertain, and I need to draw more cards. I'm really uncertain as to whether, literally, you have been praying to reach a point where you would no longer feel like you were going it alone. Because I think you have honestly, on a lot of occasions, felt like you're on your own. You're having to deal with everything on your own. Collaboration is coming, you see here. Collaboration and leading to a harvest. So I don't know whether we're being shown here this life-changing advice from your future self. I don't know whether we are being shown that you need to open the door, or you need to do something that makes a commitment that means that door will open, or whether actually someone is coming in to collaborate with you, something you've been praying for, not to be on your own. We need to draw more cards here. We need to draw more cards. And what is the advice here? One way or the other, actually, reading number 2, the advice is to make a commitment, to commit. actually to something, because the timing is right. But I'm curious, can we please have more information for reading number 2 about this situation? And what is this life-changing advice from their future self? That's really interesting. This card is flipped out, so we're going to use it as well. 2 of Cups. And how interesting with the card of commitment here. We have the 2 of Cups. The transformation. Scorpio energy. Sun in Scorpio. Transformation. Rebirth. Oh, and look at this. We have another snake twirling around the arm of the universe. Okay, reading number 2. This is big stuff happening in your world. The universe is your first card. Then we have the 8 of Discs. Then we have the 2 of Discs. Then we have the Wheel of Fortune. Oh, yes. Then we have the 10 of Discs. Then we have the 5 of Wands. I kind of want to move these along. I want this card here. This is really where it feels it needs to be. Okay. There. That's going to work for us. Good. Right. Oh, this is about saying yes. We had another reading like this really recently. It may have been the Sunday readings. We had another reading. It was really about saying yes. It was saying yes to opportunity. It's you rising. It's you seizing the moment. For some of you, I do think relationship, love is knocking on your door. It could also be a business partnership. Some opportunity for rebirth is knocking on your door. The storm fields are over. It's really interesting. The only reason this is knocking on your door and the timing is so perfect is because of the ride. It's like you've done the work. You're here now. It's like you yourself are the temple. You yourself are that space, that pyramid of possibility, of growth. You are literally rebirthing. Your fundamental, the very essence of you is in that space of nurture, transformation. You are now in a place, you see, I actually think, I'm going to say, you're in a place where you can collaborate and connect and work with others. I actually think, reading number 2, that part of this journey meant that you became really quite isolated. I think you kind of, you learned to go it alone. You learned not to rely on anybody. You learned that you know, you are your strength. The person that has to hold everything up is you. You never let your spirit die amongst all of the challenges that took place. You kept going. You got knocked down. You rose up again. You got knocked down. You rose up again. You are amazing. You truly are, truly are a superstar. That's the deal. I'm going to put it here. She rides with spirit, unbroken. Yeah, this is you. This is you. You are a superstar. You are amazing. Now it's time for the ambitions to be rewarded, for the good stuff to be coming in. This is of the past. Everything is now. It's like because you have reached a point of personal rebirth and transformation, everything is now emerging from that point, that turning point. You're not going to do this alone anymore. You don't have to. Now, whether you are looking for people to help you in your working world, or you're looking for people to help you or to come together in a loving relationship, or whatever you are doing, it's now about to shift and turn and come to fruition. This is the point of victory. It's like whatever was holding you back, we have these wheels turning here. Whatever was holding you back, it's like you have a strength now that cannot really be contested because it's the strength from the inside out. Do you know what's really coming to mind? reading number 2. And we've got a really different kind of, two different energies here coming together in a really interesting way. Because this card is really reminding me of Nelson Mandela, you know, and his capacity to process the most challenging of experiences and come out with such a strength. Such a strength. It's time for the nurturing of a new period of your life to happen. Now, the life-changing advice from your future self is to let it in. Yeah, don't be, it's time to nurture. It's time to collaborate. It's time not to go it alone. It's time to work with the transformational energy that is around you. It's time to open the door, actually, it really is. Open the door and let people in. May we have more information, please? Oh, look at this, the Emperor and the Empress. Oh my goodness me. Right, okay, wow. Well, I did say this might for some of you be to do with love. Collaboration, partnership, nurture, home, commitment. Right, if any of you have been reticent to commit or fearful of committing, even if you kind of want a connection, you're afraid it won't happen, it's time to open the door and let it in. It really is. This is absolutely a time. You've learned from your experiences. You've absolutely learned to get the Emperor and the Empress. Whatever aspect of collaboration is right for you, it's time to open the door and let it in. I must draw more cards. I really must draw more cards for you because I'm kind of wanting to know, how is this coming in? How is this connection coming in? We have such a clear affirmation. But I'm going to move those cards just here. And let's draw from another pack. Reading number 2, it is time to allow collaboration in. It's time to allow partnership into your life. It's time not to be the one-man band. It's time not to be the island. It's time to open the door, to make the commitment to what you, to not going it alone. Not going it alone. Own your ambitions as well. Your future self, the advice from your future self. This is really interesting. Yes, the advice from your future self. There's more than one aspect of this. Number one, it is that the advice is that the timing is right. It's time to allow something in, to open that door and make a full commitment to what you want and what you desire. The second purpose and the second piece of life-changing advice is actually to, it's not just to allow it in, but it's actually to dare to acknowledge the thing that you really want. You know how sometimes we get knocked back and we pick up, and we get knocked back and we pick up, and we get knocked back and we pick up, and we just think, well, it's like I'm just not even going to think of that anymore. That's not on my horizon. It's not on my agenda. That will never happen for me, so I'm not even going there. I'm not even opening the door in case I get disappointed again. Actually, your future self, the life-changing advice is, please honor and validate what you really actually want. If that is a home, if it's a family, the very nature, even if you are in a place, let's say you want to buy your own house, you want that home environment, but you don't believe it's possible. So it's like everything in your mindset says, well, that'll never happen to me. There's no point in even thinking about it because that can't happen. And what you're actually doing is closing doors. When we own the possibility of something, even if it's not on our horizon, that possibility starts to become real. You know, it's like we're putting that wish, that desire, that prayer, We're honouring the thing we want above and beyond anything. We're honouring it, we're putting it into the universe. And making a commitment to believing in the reality of that. I mean, it's so profound here. Let's ask for more information. I want to know, really, in a way. I'm going to ask for a bit more information first of all, and then I'm going to draw some cards to ask, is there advice as to what you actually need to do about whatever this is that you might want to be, that you might want to bring into the world, the thing that you desire the most. Okay, so we have Six of Swords, we have Page of Wands, and we have King of Pentacles. Okay. Reading number 2. This is absolutely gorgeous. Right, you're a superstar. Okay, you've been knocked back, you've risen up, you've been knocked back, you've risen up. We've said all this, and I'm saying it again just because I kind of want to, because you're amazing. Okay. But you really have ended up doing so much on your own. This is an absolutely pivotal moment of rebirth for you. Now, I'm actually doing this reading in eclipse season, and this is a timeless reading, so you could be tuning into this reading at any time at all. Just trust your intuition, follow your intuition. You'll find the right reading for you. But the eclipse energy is in this reading. And during eclipse season, things can change very quickly. But the most important way that they change within the eclipse energy is by our ability to acknowledge kind of how the past is referencing the present and deciding what we're going to do in the present so that we change the future. Acknowledge what you really want. This is very personal. It's much more to do, I'm not saying it wouldn't relate to career for some of you, but to be honest, this is much more about health, home, family, partnership, children, marriage for some of you. The essence of this reading is all to do with connection. And this is not gender specific at all, but it's about home, family, house, health, all those things. Love. The real quality of your life and the stuff you want that you in principle don't feel you can have, or you've tried and it went wrong and you got knocked back often, again and again and again. Right, it's time. It is absolutely time for you to recognize that you absolutely, you are loved, you are supported, you've come through so much. This is a turning point. And your future self, the life-changing advice is saying, look, you kind of really need to grasp the moment here. The Page of Wands. Action is needed on your part. If you're going to turn the wheel of fortune, you've been carrying the burden of so much, always with such strength and such resilience. It's like, I can, you come back up and you think, I can do it, I can cope. It's time almost like to rise. It's like the phoenix rising from the ashes. Make a commitment. This is the life-changing advice from your future self. Make a commitment to the things that you actually, truly, really, really do want for the quality of your real everyday life. This is an amazing time, reading number 2, to do a vision board. Not to do with work, not to do with career, but to do with what you want your real personal life to look like. The different components, the things, a vision board or a list. This is the perfect timing to focus on exactly what you want, not on the stuff that you think you can't have, but the stuff that you want. You're being moved away from that kind of energy now. You've done those storm fields. It's time for you to open the door of possibility. Yeah, rebirth is upon you from the inside out. And then we have unexpected surprises, rewards and gains. You will be surprised what shows up if you allow yourself to take a full ownership of exactly what you want. And it's quality of life. It's all those components. Good health, a loving relationship, this kind of person. You know, I want to own my own home. I want to, you know, be in a loving relationship. If you're in a loving relationship but you haven't got the home, then it's the home, it's the family, it's all that aspect. Good health. If you're struggling with any aspect of your health, then it's the time to really wish for that and make a commitment to whatever you can do to move that forwards, and not in any way waver. Let's ask for kind of some information about how this is. Is there anything specific we're being shown that you can do? Definitely seeing those cards coming through for you, reading number 2. Yeah, is there anything very specific that reading number 2 can do at this moment in time, aside from maybe a vision board or establishing that immediate focus? So your first card is the World. Yeah, taking ownership. This is you owning it. And prayer. We have the temple. We have the hands in prayer. We have the sacred pipe being smoked. The prayers going up into the universe to Great Spirit. This is like a time of planting. Yeah, like if you think of a vision board as sowing seeds, this is a time for you to sow seeds. Father Sky. We have the 5 of Swords. King of Wands. Knave of Swords and Knight of Swords. Okay, Knave being the page. Wow. Look at this King of Wands. We have a pipe again. Isn't that interesting? Right. You're being called to take charge of some aspect of your life. There is something. So this is a time for you. There's very clear life-changing advice from your future self. Okay. So number 1, this life-changing advice is take an absolute ownership of what you really, really want. Even if you haven't got it yet, take an ownership of it and make an absolute commitment to doing whatever you need to do step by step to move it forwards in whatever way you are shown. I think things that are unexpected are going to show up and open the door for you, but you kind of have to open the door of possibility first and make that commitment. Hold your vision, hold your prayers. Okay, because I feel like your prayers are going to be answered. There's also a letting go, a leaving behind of things. So if you've got into any unhelpful habits, because there's definitely a throwing off of stuff, a moving forwards. There's a motion here. We've got King of Wands, Page of Swords and the Knight of Swords. We're seeing you move forwards with boldness, determination. Absolutely. Make a commitment. Take an absolute ownership of everything you truly want. In its realness, the stuff that you deep down just like if you think, well, I'll never be able to afford a house, just on your vision board, the first thing you put is the house. Actually, that's what I want. You know, that's what I want. That's what I'm asking for. That's what I'm praying for. That's what I'm putting up there. It's like sending it out there, because doors have become closed. You've been operating very much on your own. And I think partly because, that's the other advice here as well. I think partly because you've taken so many setbacks, it's almost as though part of the challenge of being able to have that quality of life is feeling like you've got to do it on your own all the time. And everything here is saying, actually, you don't. The Emperor and the Empress. King of Pentacles. King of Wands. This is a time when the wheel is turning, and it's time to acknowledge, validate, make a commitment and open the door and take steps towards the things you want. When you have the Page and the Knight, it means that things, if you initiate things, you know, we've got Knave of Swords, Page of Swords, Page of Wands, you know, King of Pentacles, King of Wands. This is all about moving something forwards and taking it step by step. It's opening the door of of possibility. The biggest life-changing advice is the timing. The timing is actually right for you to open the door. Sometimes a reading will tell you to retreat, to take it easy, to look after yourself, to nurture, not to worry. Yes, nurture is here, but it's here in terms of outward nurture rather than inward nurture. It's ownership, it's putting it out there, giving it to Great Spirit, sending your prayers up into Father Sky, asking for things to come to you, and taking whatever steps are needed. And what we're seeing here is that things will speed up, but you've kind of got to open the door first. You have to take an ownership, you have to make a commitment, put it out there, and then open the door and step out of it. And things will then come to you very, very quickly, because the timing here is perfect for rebirth. The energy of eclipse season is around us, and it's sort of imbued in this reading. So whenever you come to this reading, that energy of evolution, of transformation, of rebirth will be absolutely primed for you. The timing is perfect. Reading number 2, I'm really excited for you because I feel that you've had so many setbacks previously, just one thing after another, after another, after another. And it really does feel like this nourishment, possessions. I mean, it's all about home, family, yeah, all the stuff. It's time it came to you. And actually your future self is saying the timing is perfect to make a commitment to what you really, really desire, and to open that door to possibility, because actually I think it's going to move forwards quite quickly if you do. Super Souls, I am excited but deeply saddened that you've had so many setbacks. I understand why you would nurture yourself in a more retreated sort of way, but this is the turning point, and that is the advice from your future self. It's a turning point, it really is for you. Super Souls, I feel like I'm repeating this a lot, but it just feels so strong. The energy is so strong for you. Super Souls, don't forget, if you want to be notified of any of my readings, these spontaneous ones, or the readings that I post every Sunday for weekly guidance, if you do subscribe, press the little bell icon. There's a ton of stuff that I do. I'll put all the links into the information box below. Just scroll down to find anything and everything that you might want. And in terms of manifestation, if you are serious about manifesting, about energy and the law of attraction, and you want to learn how to manifest with the moon, do check out my Manifest with the Moon Astro-Moon diary and journal, and my free webinar that will teach you about the science and how to use these amazing tools. Tons and tons of love to you. Welcome, reading number 3. You've been guided into this reading by the white chestnut card, the rune of initiation, and this little child charm. Let's put your main card up here, and I'm actually going to delve straight into your oracle cards. But what I will say first of all is that the white chestnut is very often to do with calming mental noise. Okay, and chestnut is also associated with transformation as well. But let's draw your oracle cards first. We are asking for life-changing advice from your future self. What does your future self need to tell you right now that will create effectively a life-changing situation or a life-changing moment? Okay, let's have a look at your oracle cards first. Ooh, you have Aletheia. Look at those, I say, beautiful roses. I feel there's such a balance here. a balance of light and dark, or light and shadows. Of course, darkness is a really interesting thing, isn't it? We tend to think of darkness as being a negative, but actually many cultures see darkness and the shadows as the space of the greatest transformation. Blessing of the Kite Dancer. Ooh, this is, excuse me, this is really interesting, reading number 3. You have the card of listening. You have the card of come together. Details, details. And protecting treasure. Then you have Cancer Immerse and Midheaven Pinnacle. Very interesting cards, reading number 3. Very, very interesting cards indeed. Super Souls, I'm going to throw the astrology dice for you, but I feel like already I need to draw your tarot cards. There's a situation or a circumstance or a rite of passage, an initiation, a process, or something you're going through. And this is a very pivotal time for you. There's something really significant that you are moving through. Now, the blessing of the Kite Dancer speaks of transition. The rune of initiation speaks of transition. Coming together, listening, details, protecting treasure. We are Aletheia. I mean, this is about listening to the truth. It's like seeing the truth of something, seeing the reality of something, being guided to being the bigger, the better, the best version of you. Blessing of the Kite Dancer, in its transition, sometimes it's as though sometimes our external circumstances are creating a pathway of transition that's actually an initiation, and it's launching you into the bigger, better version of you. It's launching you to the truth. So there's a listening going on, attention to details. I need to draw more cards straight away, reading number 3, to see kind of what's going on here. Right, we have the moon in Aries. So we have the Aries energy of new beginnings, and we have the reflective energy of the moon, the reflective, responsive energy of the moon. This is why I think, you're being asked to calm the inner chatter of the mind, to see the truth in something, to see how something really is, in order to navigate through something. Let's just ask for more information, because there's something in terms of a transition, an initiation, whatever's taking place in your external world around you, it's here to launch you into a bigger, better version of you. So what is the life-changing advice from your future self, and what is the situation that's going on around reading number 3 at the moment? We'll have a look at these cards first, and then we'll draw from a couple of other tarot packs as well. So we have the 6 of Swords. I'm just going to place this here. We have the 6 of Swords, and we have the moon again showing up here. What do you need to see? What's being illuminated? Princess of Swords, 2 of Cups, 3 of Swords, we have the 5 of Wands, and then we have the card of the Universe. This is great. I'm really thrilled that we have this card of the Universe here. Okay, so what is happening here for reading number 3? Something is coming to its natural end, but it hasn't been easy for you. A cycle has come to an end. It has not been easy for you at all. There was a lot of heartache going on here, a lot of heartache. The advice, the life-changing advice from your future self, wow. I kind of was thinking, what's going on here? You're being pushed into this bigger, better version of you. What's going on? You've been through some big stuff. I think particularly losses for you, I think, seem very relevant here. Things that have come to an end, stuff that kind of hurt or felt very wounding. And the life-changing advice is, actually, you couldn't possibly have, you're never going to see things in the same way again. Okay, but in the best possible way. You know, in the best possible way. You are not going to view life through the same lens ever again. For some of you, it's like people won't be able to pull the wool over your eyes anymore. For others, it's like your own internal thinking patterns, your own internal repetitive thoughts. It's almost like even a series of losses for some of you had to happen in order for you to recognize that something was repeating. There's been a need to listen, and it's almost as if you wouldn't even have been able to really see that repetition going on if you hadn't had these experiences. But my goodness me, they've been so tough. You know, you've literally had to learn, on occasions, you've had to learn to defend yourself. On other occasions, I think you've discovered that when you are defending yourself, you become part of the problem. Okay? You're part of the repetition. Your vulnerability through these, through these losses. Your vulnerability through these losses it's opened up a space in you where you've been able to see your own defensiveness. Okay, and you're seeing the outcome of that. And because you're seeing it in such a seriously aware way, and you know, big respect to you, you're seeing how patterns repeat. Now, it may be some of the patterns that are repeating were almost kind of like not yours. You inherited them, but somehow they're things that were embodied within you. And I think you've been doing battle for a little while. It's very much connected in with relationships, whether that's history, family history, friendships, but there have been some losses. And what this has shown you is it's like everything is illuminated now. Things that you used to defend against, I don't know that you're going to do this in the same way. This has been so life-changing. This is what Alethea is about. It's this massive shift, you know, however you look at it. When we dive into the shadows, when we come back out into the light, so to speak, it's never black and white. It's never black and white. And there are these nuggets of growth that come from those periods. You are very aware now of the details. You understand yourself in a really different way. And this means that these kinds of repetitive patterns are now stopping. They're coming to an end. There is a particular type of conflict, very particular conflict or behavior pattern or thinking pattern that turns you round and round in circles. And what we're being shown here is it's come to an end. And your higher self, your future self rather, is saying to you, look, you had to do this level of personal reflection. You also actually had to sort of do battle with this, because without it, you would never have been able to move beyond the limitations that you were imposing on yourself previously. But reading number 3, this is fantastic because it's reached its pinnacle. It's reached the point of no return. This is as I said, life will never be the same again, in the best possible way. That kind of stuff, whatever you used to do, whatever you used to repeat, you're not going to repeat it again. Whatever used to come into your world, if you had a blind side, where someone would come in and you believe what you were told, you wouldn't really listen or hear the truth. You know, somebody could bluff their way through and you'd think, oh, well, you know, you give them the benefit of the doubt Now you really hear, and there's no turning back. And actually, this is unbelievably empowering for you. You can now hear the details. You see things as they are. Now, this is really empowering within all aspects of relationship and all aspects of your life. This is an incredible, it's the end of an initiation period. And that is what your future self is saying. Look, you've been through so much, but you are now at a point of no return. Life will never be the same again, but it will never be the same again in the best possible way. Truly, reading number 3, I am feeling mega excited for you. Let's draw some more cards, reading number 3, because I'm really fascinated as to where this is going. Your future self is really identifying with great clarity that you are never going to see things in the same way. You're not going to repeat those patterns. You now see something with absolute clarity in a way that you didn't before. A blind side, a pattern within yourself, something has come to its completion in the most wonderful way because it's liberating for you. You know, it's creating that lovely Aries new beginning. You have a different level of inner awareness now as to how something affects you, what you can do about it. There's no autopilot defense anymore, which is utterly beautiful. Now, let's ask for more information. What comes next is what I want to ask for reading number 3. What comes next, given what we're being shown here? What will your higher self reveal? And can they give you advice about this? Okay, so we have the 9 of Swords as your first card here. And we're seeing this transformation, something that really used to block you, cause you constant distress. It's coming to an end. There's a transformation here. 8 of Pentacles. Beautiful. You are now going to be able to be, basically you're free to consciously manifest, okay? I will tell you at the end of this reading, I'll just tell you a tiny bit about something that you might, some of you will know already, that you can access around manifestation. Stuff that you just, I just feel like you had such a blind side. You know, literally it stopped you from being able to see something to the point where it blocked you and it caused you to be in this repetitive cycle. This is now shifting. You can now become very active in manifesting. And what do we have? King of Cups. We have the 5 of Swords and we have the 6 of Cups. So this is really, again, very helpful guidance. So if reading number 3, it's a general reading, so it's going to apply to different aspects of your world. But whatever you have now moved through, that pinnacle point, you know, life will never be the same again, fantastic. What your future self is also saying to you is that there's still a process to go through. So it's kind of like, when you become aware of something, you can't change anything if you're not aware of it, because it's just acting, you're on autopilot, it's acting on an auto response mechanism. So you can't do anything if you're acting unconsciously because it's unconscious. When you first become aware of it and you notice it, okay, that's when you can then start to change things. And what your future self is saying here is that this is really liberating because you're now consciously aware of what's happening. You're consciously aware of that pattern. You're consciously aware of that blind side, that vulnerability. What you will need to do, and this is the advice of your future self, is that when we become aware of something, it doesn't just vanish overnight. Okay, we need to become very active in noticing it. So activity, the Mars so I say the Mars, the Aries energy, but the reflective observational energy of the moon in Aries. So we become an active listener. Okay, we become an observer of ourselves very often. Even if you are being an observer of other people, you're observing the impact other people have on you. And because this reading is very much about the internal responses within you from external stuff, okay, and the empowerment that comes with that ability to listen. And your future self is saying to you, you now see something. Just because we see it, it doesn't vanish. Once we see it, we then have an opportunity to become active in processing it and working through it, so we don't do it again. It's like noticing. When the first time you notice something, generally it's after the event. I think noticing goes through these stages. So we notice after the event, and then we get a little bit better at noticing, and we notice, oh no, I'm doing it again, right now I'm doing it. And then the more we notice, we start to notice, oh well, I think I'm about to do that. We notice ahead of time, and because we notice ahead of time, we can change and shift our behavior, our attitude, our perspective. We start to see it coming, and we reach a point where we just don't even do it anymore, because we've changed that so much. We've manifested something into a completely different way of being and doing. The advice from your future self is, don't give yourself a hard time if you find that this pops up again, because this is a general reading, you're going to be at different stages of that noticing pathway. Listen. Learn to listen. It's all going to come together, and learn to listen not just to what's going on outside of you, but what goes on inside of you and your responses to things. And notice the details. Pay attention to the details. This is all coming together. This is the point when the initiation completes, and you get to emerge, and you can become really, really conscious of living in a different way. And it will be so empowering. Reading number 3, it's untrue. I mean, you know, we have the King of Cups here. You are going to be so in charge of your own emotions, particularly because I think these kinds of inner workings often brought up quite significantly strong emotions. And certain emotions will trigger certain thinking patterns, which in turn generate more of the same emotions. I wrote a book all about that kind of relationship between difficult emotions and the thinking patterns. Super Souls is called Mindfulness Meets Emotional Awareness. It really is an incredibly helpful and empowering book. I will put it in the information box and the comments with all the other links. So do scroll down and access that if that's helpful. I'll put a ton of stuff there for you guys. But this is the point of stepping up. It's the point of noticing. Don't give yourself a hard time. If you find yourself, you know, something pops up and you're like, oh no, I did it again. That's okay. You know, we don't fix stuff immediately. We have to notice it, and then we have to work at it. I was, a long time ago, I went to a neuroscience masterclass, which sounds very, very grand. But in my former life as an accredited counsellor and psychotherapist for 28 years, I obviously did lots of ongoing training. And I loved the analogy that the psychologist that was running that day spoke about. The analogy she used, she said, you know, if you walk across a field for the very first time, a field of grass, and you get to the other side and you turn around and you look back, and you won't even see where you've walked. The grass will bounce back up. It won't even look as if you've even walked across there. But she said, if you make a conscious effort to walk across that field, you know, you might forget sometimes and walk round it because that was the route you used to take. But if you consciously make an effort to keep doing it, over time, that pathway will become a well-worn pathway, and you will reach a point where you will never take the old route that you used to take. You will automatically take the new pathway. And she said, this is how we operate within our, you know, our neuro pathways. We can generate new pathways, we can generate new thinking patterns, we can generate new ways of doing them, of doing stuff, of thinking, of approaching stuff. But that pathway, we have to work at building it, but there will come a point when that is your automatic pathway. So, and it's got that flavour about it here. Your future self is giving you this life-changing advice, which is do not give yourself a hard time and interpret the showing up of the same thinking pattern or the same response to something as going backwards. You're not going backwards. You are learning to notice, and you're at different stages of the noticing. And this is seriously life-changing stuff. So don't give yourself a hard time if you look back. Stop, get still, calm the mind, calm the emotions, take charge of the situation, and make a conscious choice to approach it differently. Listen, pay attention to the details, look within as well as without, and everything will come together. I am loving your reading. I am absolutely loving your reading, reading number 3. Let's draw more cards. Your advice from your future self is really, really clear. And it's beautiful because this is just, wow, it's just so full of growth and so full of potential. Let's see what else we are shown. Maybe perhaps a glimpse into the future. What kind of things are going to emerge that will be different because of this change and this shift? What are we shown for reading number 3? So we have, first of all, the 3 of Swords. Lovely. This is the end of something. It's the end of a conflict. It's the end of something that used to be really challenging. Look at the cockerel here. It's like do you know, right, this is really interesting. Some of you, what has actually been going on, the pattern, the outcome of the pattern that you were stuck in has stopped you from having a voice. It stopped you from being able to literally crow, to be able to say, it stopped your self-esteem, it stopped your sense of value, it stopped you from having a voice. And that is going to change. Loving that, loving it, thank you. We have the 9 of Swords, and this is very interesting as a 9 of Swords, this card here, because we have here effectively a gigantic bat standing over these people here. It's transformation at its highest. This is a 9 of Swords that says, rather than it being like a, you know, we have this here, the dark night of the soul, we see the transformation just as we see it. In fact, both of these cards depict that transformation. It's a turning point. Those things are no longer going to haunt you. It's a magnificent turning point. What used to be a problem for you will cease to be a problem for you. And look at the badger that we have, the badger energy. This is amazing. Knave of Pentacles. Now the badger energy is really interesting because badgers are fantastic creatures. They're actually able to defend themselves. Okay, they don't fight on, they won't go out and pick a fight, but if somebody comes and treads on their toes, they'll fight to the death. I think that you have in the past not been able to have a voice, and you haven't been able to defend yourself, and that is going to change. That's part of the transformation. We have the Hierophant. And oh, look at the butterflies here, the 8 of Swords. Look at the transformation. It's stunning. This is going to be so liberating for you. So first of all, we have the Hierophant, but look at the leadership here. You know, people will actually look to you. This pattern has stopped you from being the bigger, best version of you. It's held you back. You haven't been able to have a voice. You haven't been able to defend yourself. You haven't felt able to step up and lead. This is transforming. I mean, this is just such a beautiful card. Look at the imagery of the butterflies here. This person is literally, they are free. It's like your soul. Your very soul was connected to the tangle of something here, and your soul becomes liberated because of this transformation. So your future self is just, I love this card, your future self is totally validating that this is a point of transformation where some pattern that's been active in your life that gave you a blind side, a vulnerability, some repetitive thinking, seeing the world through a particular lens, has now come to its point. You see it, you know it. It might pop up again. Don't give yourself a hard time. But the transformation coming from this is staggering. You get to have a voice. You know who you are. People don't walk all over you. If you've been a doormat, that stops. And you can just say it how it is. You don't get riled anymore or emotionally loaded because you've sorted that out. You found a new pathway and a different way of doing things. That's the advice, is to learn that new pathway as well. And people are going to look to you. They're going to see you as a leader. They're going to see you as somebody who walks your talk. Reading number 3, I am blown away by your reading, because this level of transformation, honestly, it feels like at a level of soul, you have been really, really restricted, often in ways that you weren't fully aware of. I think you've been aware of some aspects of that journey, but there have been layers of autopilot stuff, and you have been systematically working through it. And this point of transformation is now here. This is your liberation. This is your rite of passage. This is the new you. Don't go down the worrying bit. If something pops up, stop that worrying. You know it's a pattern of the past. It really does feel like you are just going to step up into the world. This is a beautiful, beautiful reading, and I am blown away on your behalf. I really, really am. Reading number 3, it's been heaven to read for you today. It really, really has. This is such an empowering reading, because that fundamental internal shift is going to be so liberating. I'm not saying there isn't some bits of work to do around the noticing and the changing, but it's like you finally, you can do it. You can do it, you can have it, and it's going to transform your entire relationship with yourself and your entire relationship with your external world, with people around you, partners, friends, family, work. All of those things will change because you are changed. This is a beautiful reading, reading number 3. I am, blown away. I am sending you all the love in the world. Do check out the resources that I'm putting in the information box below. Do subscribe if you want to get notification of any of my readings, including some of the teensy weensy small ones that I'm uploading now, random readings where I literally just have spare half an hour, and I say spare half an hour, I don't think I ever have any spare time, but random readings where I have I can allocate a bit of time to do some small readings that are really available and immediate in that moment. So do check those out. Do subscribe, press the little bell icon, and if you're interested in manifestation, now I can talk to you about some other stuff. If you are passionate about manifesting, passionate about the law of attraction and about the moon and astrology, do check out my Manifest with the Moon, Astro-Moon diary and journal, and my free webinar that will teach you all about the science and how to use these amazing tools. Tons and tons of love to you.